Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So Roxy's Journal Stitchery Cloth Tales book number 4. So if you've been hanging with me for some time, since January, we've been working on a series of little Textile Tales books. And my first one was embellishing one of these very old 1950s little books, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I was pushed for time, so I come up with this idea as something that I could just do a little bit of stitching each day, think about composition and how I can complement an already printed page. So that was just heaps of fun. And in the process of doing that, I had a really good look at the way the manufacturer has created the actual book itself, which led me to the next book, which was this one. Actually, no, it was this one next. This one. No, it was this. Sorry, get myself all muddled up. Either way, I created my own version of a cloth book as per the 1950s printing technique, which was really cool. I won't go into how I actually did it. That's in the previous videos, but it enabled me to do a portrait version of heaps of different sort of scenes inspired by Flower Flash, a Lewis Miller beautiful book, and then there was a French book as well, which was just gorgeous photography of flowers. So yeah, that was that one. And then of course the lace sampler, which I made to hold all of my gorgeous Italian pieces of lace that I just didn't want to use, you know, in a project and be gone. So book number 4. I'm really enjoying looking at different ways to construct books. I'm sort of thinking that's where I'm sort of tending towards here. And there's a style of book creation spine work that I haven't ever tried, and I had a little play and I found an awesome tutorial to not only teach me how to do it, but you guys can also have a look at it. Now, slip knot binding is the way we're going to go, and this is a side view of a journal that's been created using this slip knot to capture each of the single pages, and then when they're all knotted together via a slip knot fastened off, you then get a very flat laying journal, which I'll show you a little bit more now. Now this I've put below in my description if you want to go and have a little look. Book and Paper Arts, I believe her name's Kelly. She does a really good tutorial, and there's a few of them out there, so if you can't quite get it with Kelly, just type in slip knot binding and you'll find plenty of people. I think Catherine from K3N has even done one as well, way back. I'm pretty sure that one popped up as well. All right, so the theme. The theme is all about Miss Jemima PUDDLEDUCK. I'm a bit of a Beatrix Potter fan, like most of us are, and when I saw a few of the YouTube girls playing with the Beatrix Potter characters, Sarah from Roxy Creations by Sarah in particular, she kicked off with a Beatrix Potter book as well. Just gorgeous, and the color palette's lovely, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And because I'm drifting between children's books and more classical work just to keep it more interesting for me, so we're dipping back into the children's category of books. Now, in addition to the cover, I've got 2 books here from Jemima. This one here I did consider, but because I want to use the internal pages throughout the journal, this is a little bit too lightweight. So if I was to use this, it would probably be just the cover, and at the moment I'm leaving that as it is. Who knows what will come of that in the future. And I went for this guy. Now, it's a storybook book. Storyboard, I think is the word. Really firm. So it's going to hold its own, and I think it will be perfect for the slip knot technique. So as for inspiration of books, well, of course it's Jemima, but I do have a little pile of books here that I hope to be inspired by. My favorites, which you've seen, Little Red Hen, Charlie, Three Little Pigs, and The Big Brown Bear. So that's the children's book category. I've dug out some cross-stitch panels that I never completed and patterns to do with the theme of Beatrix Potter and Jemima PUDDLEDUCK. In the months leading up to this project, I have stitched myself a Jemima PUDDLEDUCK. So she's waiting to be harvested and put into the piece. Now, the other thing I've done is, I'll go into that in a moment. Let's just go through my books. I'm sure there'll be stitches from Jennifer come into play because Jemima is going to be doing all sorts of things. So I grabbed her 3 books out. Or have I only got 2? I think I grabbed 2 because the other one, you know, how much stimulation do you need? And I probably only really need that one. But the new one is really cool. Where did I put that? Anyway, so I've got Jennifer's books at hand for our reference to have a play. Now, Jemima. What's Jemima all about? Now, we all know she's a bit of a dizzy duck. She's not the sharpest tool in the duck shed. She gets herself entangled with a fox, and luckily she tells her story to the collie. The collie grabs his mates. They go out into the forest and, I guess, touch up the fox, escort Miss PUDDLEDUCK home, where she goes back into having her little ducklings at the farm because she was seriously heading, look, there he is, like Mr. Sly Fox. She was heading for trouble as he had a nice woodshed full of feathers that she was very welcome to lay her eggs in as he was plotting making, you know, an omelette and maybe duck soup. So what I want to do with this book as my theme is explore the duck herself and all of the things she likes to do when she's not looking for nests and egg laying and raising her babies. She's a bit of a fuddy old duck. She likes stitching, she likes crocheting, she likes doing all sorts of crafts. She's not a master of anything. She just likes to fiddle around. So that's what my book's going to be all about. So I thought, why not crochet some bits and bobs to put into the little book? So that book's there. We're going to be thread painting. And this little gorgeous book here is some inspiration of thread painting, which I thought might be fun to explore. And then I've had this little book for a while and I haven't made anything out of it. So I thought I might have a little look through that. And there's definitely some cute little birds. So I thought it might be a good way to have a play with that book. Some letters, some animals, some farm bits and bobs. There's even a collie. Who knows? I just threw it in the pile as, you know, keep playing with these books. We require. No. What's the word? I know you're saying it. Anyway, I'm looking at this and my brain's just gone off on a tangent. Look at all this ribbon embroidery. Now, these are old books I've found at thrift stores and I just think they're so beautiful. And I think Miss PUDDLEDUCK is definitely one wanting to play with ribbon embroidery. So that's in the pile. So as you can see, Miss PUDDLEDUCK is going to be fiddling around with all sorts of techniques. Now, in addition to the little book, I've gathered a few Beatrix Potter fabrics. I did show these in a video a month or so ago, and I picked them up from Howard Drapery and I had a couple bits and pieces. This is a gift from Susanna and it came from a panel. So I've had that in my stash for a little while. Vanessa gave me some fabrics ages ago when we were at a retreat together. So they're sitting here. They came from the series from Riley Blake. In addition, I have picked up some extras, which I found at Howard Drapery. So not all have Jemimas, but it certainly will bring in a bit of Beatrix Potter. These come in different colour waves. You've probably seen them in your travels, a blue background, a corally apricot background, and then the cream background. So they're hanging around if we do need to dip into some of those other little characters. Like, as for the page layout and what I'm going to do, I seriously have no idea. So I just thought I'd grab this first too. Now, this is a panel I did way back, way back. And I believe it was part of no particular project. I think it was just me playing, collaging things together. And I had a heap of the JEMIMA, a heap of the Beatrix Potter stitched from this book, characters. So back in the day when I thought I might have a baby, I started making a baby blanket. Baby never happened, and the blanket never got finished. My career took off and cross-stitching was sort of on the way out for me. And I used this beautiful soft Afghani fabric to base all of the stitcheries on. It sat in the cupboard for like 28 years, ages. And I harvested them out, never completed JEMIMA, so that's happened now. But I did get Mum and the Bubs there. There she is saying goodbye to them as they head off. Another one there. They're just beautiful and they're a decent size. There's Troublemaker going under the fence. So as for my colour palette, it'll be similar to this. So if that's something that inspires you, they are the textile colour palettes that I'm sort of grabbing to put aside for this journal. I really, really enjoyed it. So let's pop that now away. Let's give you a bit of an overall view. Being this is the first video in the series, I thought I'll just put it all out on the table, prepare my journal, and then in the next video we can get started on, you know, making the actual page layouts. So what I've got here is a practice run. I was trying to work out, you know, how to do it, and would textiles work? And they do. It's certainly not something you'd want to tug on a lot because there's a possibility you would tear through. So since then I've thought I will most likely do an eyelet stitch around all of those little nooks where the thread weaves through. Now those holes I've created with my what do they call this thing? Crocodile? Crop. C-R-O-P-A-D-I-L-E. Back from the scrapbook days. We are memory keepers. This makes holes, 2 different sizes, and then eyelets can be put in to be crunched down at this end, and I thought, well, that's perfect to get my holes. I won't be using the eyelets, the metal eyelets. They're more suited for fabric. And the ones I've got, paper, and the ones I've got are quite narrow, and this is going to get quite chunky by the time I collage fabric and things like that. So I'm not going to use those. I'm actually going to hand stitch eyelet stitch around, you know, when you do an overcast stitch round and round and round a hole, and that just helps reinforce it. So that's the plan. What I might do is I'm going to deconstruct this one before we get started so you can see that it's really quite simple. I've finished off the threads with a knot at the end. Once you've bound all your pages together, it's just a simple knot to tie it off. But as I said, there's a YouTube video there. I won't probably put this together yet because I've had a couple thoughts and I don't know which direction I'm going to go in. So if I make the book right up front, it might pigeonhole my collaged pages. And it was all in my head, well, how do I reinforce these holes? And I thought about getting some Liberty fabric and stitching onto each page a margin of Liberty fabric that would also help reinforce, because Tana Lawn in particular is a really dense fabric. So undoing this may not have been as easy as I thought, but we'll get it. But then it pigeonholes my collage page potentially into Tana Lawn being on the margin of everything. So I don't think I want to do that. So that would have been a case of maybe undoing this was not the brightest idea. reinventing the wheel here. Anyway, probably it wasn't a good idea. Let's just keep going, we'll see what comes of it. Okay, so you are loose. Okay, that's what we want. I just want that last page to come off, just to give you a bit of a snapshot into the technique, so that if you did want to do this, you could go further afoot and watch that, you know, little video. And I think I'll be able to clearly explain why the Tana lawn margin, where the holes are, to help strengthen the fabric, might be a bit restricting when it comes to actually collaging my page. Now, you'll notice while I'm fiddling here, the JEMIMA book has a little cutout top to it. Now, there's a whole series of these. I went looking and definitely saw a Peter Rabbit one for sale. So if JEMIMA's not your girl and you want to do a Peter Rabbit, you could definitely find a Peter Rabbit shaped book, which looked gorgeous. But JEMIMA's my girl. Okay, so I've now removed that back page. So, yep, that's really good. The thing I also like about this is when you've lassoed them together or slip knot them together, see how flat they lay? That is really, really cool. And all they do is you prepare your page, whether you have wadding or not, it's up to you. I think I will, because it's just more strength around where I've punched this hole. This one here was nice and loose, so it didn't pucker it. This one here was quite firm, so it did pull. So I think that's another thing I learnt by doing a little practice run, is don't be so tight when you bring your slip knot through. And from memory, because I did this a week or so ago, you put your fabric through the top. You come down through the top. That's it. And then grab that through and you create your slip knot. That's it. So I'll show you again. Let me zoom in. But yeah, go to the tutorial. That's the best way to watch it. This is just grab your string that's caught the other two, or your cord or your lace, whatever you're doing. I'm going to push it through that hole, catching the wadding as well, so it's part of my page. And then using that loop that you've created there, I'm going to just pinch through that. That's it. Don't pull it too tight. So one more time, so you can see the principle of it anyway. So that would go through and catch it. So just stop for a moment, girl. Now, my thought was, if I got some Tana lawn fabric, being that it's dense, I potentially could get a strip. This was the thought, which I haven't actually played with yet. So I'm just going to trim off a bit of a strip, and we're going to have a little bit of a play. I could lay that down right through, then put a hole in it, and that would help bind the actual, you know, around the hole. It's just another layer of strength, so to speak. So when I punch my hole, I would have that little piece of fabric in there as well. And I'm only thinking that because it's so densely woven. It doesn't fray real easily. But I've also thought, well, that now restricts me to a piece of small print Tana lawn. So I really need to think about that before I go ahead and do it. I probably need to throw all of the bits and pieces I've gathered over the last couple of months in this basket to the side of me and decide, is this a piece that's in or out? What I mean by that, No, we'll go to that. Just stay focused on one thing at the moment. Otherwise, I'm going to have a hang of a mess. So something to consider. Liberty fabric, Tana lawn could add another layer of thickness to help strengthen your holes. Or say you want to use something that's a really loose weave and is going to literally disintegrate. That's where the eyelet stitch came in, where you go round and round and round and round and do a blanket stitch or an overcast stitch there, just to make like a buttonhole style look, and then you know it's secure. And then you would start slip knotting your pages together. So that's all going to come down to what's your background fabric. I'm playing with calico at the moment, but maybe I should be a bit braver and go straight into a pretty fabric. Get the page base prepped. And then, whoops, concentrate on what I'm doing here. You know, and then, I don't know, I'm just not sure. I can visualize the book and the spine and the shape, but I haven't yet got to the stage of visualizing the page, which, you know, that'll come. So there you go. That's pretty much the slip knot method. And look, it lays flat. Of course, that would be knotted. I just pulled it apart. When you're finished and you've got your 10, 15, 2, 3 pages all up, you do a knot here. And then they lay nice and flat like that. So clever. Perfect for slow stitch. Now, I think, if this was already on here and I've slip knotted the whole book together, then that's the colour palette that would be for that page, correct? Or I don't slip knot at the beginning and I just make heaps of pages and then bring them together at the end. That's the decision. And I don't think I'm ready to make that decision just yet. So something for you to have a think about if you're going to do this technique. Are you going to make them individually, or you're going to bring the book together and for reinforcement maybe add a little extra fabric in that joining process, or eyelet stitch it, then join them? Who knows? Something to think about. Anyway, now what I want to do next is prepare my book. Now this little book's going to allow me to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actual pieces of stitching. So really good. And it's not glued. You see that gap in there? So that's going to allow me to slice that spine open and separate those pages. I hope. I might just zoom up a little bit because I'm back right up in your face. So I've just got a pointy little blade. I want them all individual. So I'm hoping when I take this outer off, I will be able to just ease them apart. She's well loved, this little one. I can see little stains and aging, as you would expect with a Beatrix Potter book. I thought I had one myself. I ended up finding this one online. I thought I had one, but I don't know where it is. I know I've got the whole box set, but I didn't want to, you know, hack into them because they're pristine. I don't even know where I got that from. So what I might do is just get in there and take... Okay, so our spine is removed. Let's see what this looks like. So there's all the folds, and that's glued how. So that's a fold as well. So I just need to slice them all now. Yep, that's pretty easy. Do I do it this way? I like the idea that I can get into that little crevice there by going back on myself. So I think I'll do it that way. Yeah, one, flip it out again. There's a little indent there that I've inadvertently created by folding it back, which is giving me a beautiful straighter edge. Two. Gonna have to be careful that I get the pages in order when it comes to putting this little girl back together. That could do with a bit of a trim. Got a bit of a bump. You know, the slip knot method is perfect for this because we've got these pages. We're inserting new pages and it lays flat. I suspect I'll start off with just creating pages and then maybe halfway through the slip knot creation happens, or you know, save it to the end. I don't know. That's why I wanted to link the how-to video for you, because you sort of need to know where we're heading with the spine. Yeah, that's really good. They've come off really well. Awesome. It's a gorgeous little book. I showed this idea of mine, I think it was the end of Feb, of what I was planning, and I know quite a few of you sent me messages to say that you'd found one of these little hard books and were preparing as well to have a play. It's funny how the blade just gets blunt real quick. There we go. Look at Jemima. You gorgeous girl. Okay. So what I might do next is work out where the holes will go and punch the holes, because that needs to be taken into consideration when creating our work. Because, you know, imagine you've just thread painted a beautiful flower and then you find that your hole for your slip knot process is going to go straight through it. So I think that's a definite consideration. There we go, individual pages, and of course then I'd create individual stitcheries, same shape. Yeah, that's going to work a treat. So what I'm thinking, if I can keep them all straight and work out where I would be marking them. Like how far in do we want to go? You want them to turn maybe 1/4 of an inch, you think? There maybe. I think it's going to be a bit of an experiment of see, you know, what looks the best. So inch-wise, what was that? I've got to be able to remember it so I can apply it to all of the other books. Having said that, I could probably just lay it. So it's 3 3¾ and then from the bottom, what do we do? Maybe 1.5 inches. Yeah, maybe 1.5 inches. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good. Don't want to jigger it. And I think actually once I punch the first hole, I can use that as my point of marking. Yes, that's what we'll do. So how big of a hole? Good question. I think it needs to be fairly generous because the cord needs to come through. There's a little stopper here that allows the fabric or the page to stop, so you know they're all the same. Put it up the right way. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm to the duck side of that. Yeah. I think that'll work. Well, we're giving it a go. What do we got to lose? A beautiful old book. So there's my hole. And I'm thinking all I need to do, let's just make it easy for ourselves, is use this as the template to mark the rest. Does that sound logical? Yeah, it's definitely the bigger of the two. And chomp. So there you go, guys. That's the preparation of the book itself. And then I will have to have a really good think about backgrounds, the pages. Am I going to just have a calico and build up on it like I would normally do? Or am I going to be brave and pick? I bet I'm not. I don't want to be pigeonholed into a design. I want to be able to pick up the book each week and go, I feel like doing ribbon embroidery, and it may require a really neutral background so that the colours pop and you're not fighting against a gingham or something, where the gingham can be added if needed, when needed. Yeah, there you go. I've just answered that question. When I've done this, I'll show you some of the fabrics I've put aside. And I think you'll see why I'm sort of thinking about all this. I like neutral bases because you can then do what you want from there. You can add more fabric. Probably don't need the wadding. If you don't have it, you probably don't need it. By the time you collage fabrics, it's probably thick enough. So even that's a bit up in the air at the moment. If I didn't have a little hard covered book in amongst it and it was just the calico, definitely. So if you're not using a book and you just want to use the technique to create a journal page, I'd definitely put the wadding in just to give it a little, you'll feel like those children's books, nice and thick in your hand. And then once you've created your page, like you'd create this guy, and then you create this guy but have the wadding up and you could stitch them together, then that becomes your page and it's, you know, pinched in together with the spine. So a few things to think about. You might just have a plain piece of fabric on the reverse. Let's say that's your cover. You might put your next piece here, your collaged beautiful piece, and this is just a piece of fabric that complements that page. Like, don't go collage, because technically that would be then on there because you've got wadding here. Does that make sense? You guys can figure it out. You know what I mean. If you've been making these little books with us all, I'm sure you've been playing with all sorts of techniques to, you know, build your little book. Got a bit of a treat at the end of this video too. Before I come in here to film this, I'd been stitching some bits and bobs and my back was feeling a little bit tight, and I thought, oh gosh, I really wanted to come in and do the first video for this book. So I thought, oh, I'll take the dogs for a little walk. It's just beautiful outside. So I filmed some little bits of footage of us gallivanting along the side of the lake. I thought they'd have a swim, but it was just a little bit cool. If it had been in the afternoon, 30-degree heat, I could guarantee those two hounds would have been into that lake. But they were like, yeah, not so keen. Much encouragement from me, but nope. The pages themselves, I'm not necessarily going to follow the Puddle Duck story. I don't know if I want to pigeon myself, but then I might get to a page like that and we build a composition that complements it, possibly. Use this as the colour palette. That's probably more me. But who knows? No decisions. Fly by the seat of your pants. Okay, so there's our little book, all holed up, ready to go. Love it. Yep, and they all line up. So what I do next is grab some calico, grab Miss Duck. That's pretty straight. I might even go right up to the edge there and just draw around. This is assuming I go down the track of a neutral. I need a bit of scissors. That's going to take forever to cut around and it will chew it to bits. Let's just tidy up for a quick moment. I've got to the point where things are encroaching on me. And never go back in the way they're meant to. All right, done with them. Got bits everywhere here, guys. How quickly our space gets into chaos. All right. So there's our shape. Do we want wadding? I think we do. I can always go and grab that and add it later because I don't have it at hand here. So my first page. Now remember when I counted out those pages, that's where you need to double it. It just dawned on me. That's a lot of work, Corinne. Good one. But you could just use a piece of beautiful fabric to, you know, inspire you. So picture a piece of wadding under that. That's pretty close. So that will sit in there. That's the grand plan. So I would need two pieces because there's a front and a back as we flip through our little book. Yeah, I will. And wadding potentially on both, which will make it fairly thick. So I envision crocheting in there too. My goodness, this thing could be, you know, an inch. Let's see. So we're currently at 10 mil. This could blow out to a 2-inch spine by the time we fill it full of Puddle Duck treasures and Puddle Duck experiences. It's possible that, you know, everything starts really sitting up quite high, which will, oh, that is going to be so much fun. All right, so that's the plan. Now, let's just have a look at the fabrics I've gathered. So I'm going to keep this little guy because I just think that is a great little stitchery book. I just think that has such potential. Anyway, going off on a tangent like we do. Now, I had also planned to show you this little mess. This little mess. Now this, where is the actual kit? I was at a thrift store months ago and I picked up one of those stitcheries. There it is. It's over on the other bench. Let me grab it. And it's been hanging around for so long and I just want to put it away in a cupboard. But I kept it out because I knew I'd be making this video. So at the thrift store, it was one of these little guys. Just a little needlework stitchery. Got it for $3. And there were some little ducks across the bottom here. So I went into the piece, and lo and behold, whoever did this project had stitched the ducks. Now it's a bit of an unusual thing. It's printed, but there's not enough threads to actually do the whole thing. You can see blotches of white everywhere, and that's where you were to, you know, do your stitching. But it's not over the whole thing. It's sort of like a partially stitched project. So these little ducks were done. So what I did, I'd be so pleased to put this away now, is I cut all the interesting bits out, and I've been sitting here stitching. I'll keep that because if anyone asks in future videos, I can say it's come from one of these little cross stitch, no count cross stitch, Cottage Garden. It's an original watercolor. Okay, so in the process of cutting these out, the little ducks were done, but I've filled in the background with just my own, you know, cross stitches. Started doing some little extra stitches on top to embellish it because it looked very blocky, and just using the threads that came with the actual project. So that was partially done, so I've sat there and painstakingly stitched it. I do need to go back with a black thread and highlight petals. I like when I can sort of see a little bit more definition, but I've left it at that stage. It's fully stitched, and I've fussy cut it out. So it's given me a couple little random elements. These up here were starting to be orange, and I unpicked them and made them look like the hollyhock that are in the duck. Well, sort of. So I extended that, changed the design a little bit, and more of these cabbagey looking flowers at the bottom. The that one is one that the lady had done, but I'm yet to embellish, and I thought, oh, I'll just see how we go. I may not need it. And then I've got a spare duck, and that's sort of what they got, and they just filled it in. And then, heaven forbid, someone had stitched the ducks. So all I've done is background and just added a bit of extra stitching and sort of made them little elements that can be played with. So they're sitting to one side here. I can now start a little bowl of goodies that can just sit on my table. So they can sit in there. Miss Jemima Puddle Duck that I've stitched, she is those colours. I can now pull her out. Oh gosh, I've been wanting to do this for so long and put some of these things away. So I'm going to get Jemima out. First page composition will be the next video. This is just all about, I guess, clearing the head of ideas. When I've been sitting there stitching these over the last month or so, I've had a million ideas pop into my head, and some of them I've even forgotten now, so that's how great they were. We'll just see how it rolls. So we've now got our project. See, I can put these away now. The tidy up. It's a real thing, isn't it? Put that away, that away. Now, what I want to show you are some fabrics that are put aside. This one in particular, and keep in mind that that's my colour palette based on Jemima herself and the book. Let's just put that there. So, mushrooms, she goes through the forest, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity to have a play with this fabric. Came from the Howard Drapery, a little town near me, little country town with a beautiful old drapery selling all sorts of things, fabrics included. Now, in addition, I have been slinging into a basket heaps and heaps of stuff. So let's just have a little look. Some more little birdie fabrics. Not that, you know, there's fairies in there, but that doesn't really interest me. But the berries, I thought we could do something with berries. That's just an old fabric that's been laying around, and I thought that's just perfect for the duck. I had some of these put aside, but now that I'm actually curating the textiles. They're okay, but I might need a page where we take a breath, so maybe these pinks will come into it. I've just put them in, and then some damask that's in those tones. A lot of these have some chenille. Whether I use them or not is another thing. I also found these at a local market. They were $3 for some little table, you know, stitched piece. What do you call it? Anyway, can't think of the name. Went blank. I think this might be too big of a scale. So it's floating around, but I think it might be too big. But then having said that, if you're doing crocheted flowers that are quite bold, maybe this will work. So that's sitting in the pile. I went to my quilt scraps and I found a couple quilt blocks, but once again, very big scale. The little design in there is good. So they're floating around. I found that possibly as a background, a page. So what you would do then is that gets cut out. See, maybe I do quilt blocks. It's very polarizing and it's very big scale. You imagine opening up the book. Oh, maybe it would work, but it wouldn't work there, would it? See, this is when the colour palette comes in, and it's more of a softer palette, isn't it? I just don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where this... See, that one works, but it's very pink. So, pretty much created a pile of scrappy quilt bits. To me, that's better. Where's the... That's better, if that was in amongst it. That's probably better. Not that hot pink. And I think that was pretty good. Where's Miss Jemima? Yeah, I think that's too bright. So I'm going to eliminate that. I'm going to keep this because that feels a bit Jemima-y, and I think that's got potential colour palette wise. The little flowers, pop of the yellow. That. Maybe I do make my pages quilt back bits. And maybe some of these. Then I started grabbing doilies. This may not end up in the piece, but it was just to remind me, hey girl, go look for doilies on the day that you're making a page. They're probably a bit bright. Isn't it funny? You put things together when they're sitting in a pile and you're like, yes, yes, yes. But then you bring the book in and look at that. It's more insipid, which is, I think, where I'm going to head. So I'm going to eliminate that because, but then maybe the colour might lift it. Leave it there. I found that. See, that's better. That's a better colour palette. Leave it. Some of these, definitely. Really all comes down to the composition, doesn't it, on the day? Just some random bits. I found that little piece. See, that works. Found that. That works with you-know-whose little hat. This here works a treat. The songbirds, I think this is called. Now, remember Susanna put some packs together with these in conjunction with, yeah, I think it's more of a pastel colour palette, actually. Well, there you go. I thought it was brights, but I don't think it is. I found this is an old pillar slip. Different textures, cotton with a bit of a linen-y fabric. I thought they could be used. And then that ribbon, like look at that. So, yeah, here we go. I'm definitely going to go these more muted tones. That works. Then it gets to a point where you're grabbing too much out and it just needs to stop. I've got this piece that's already patched together. I thought that might be of use to me. And then that picks up the blue. And found this little mouse. That was the second one out of the panel that Susanna gave me. I was thinking about working in a needle book into it at one point, but I don't think I'm going to do that. That one was gifted to me. See, I can lean into those colour palettes. Yeah, thread painting. Barefoot Roses. Bit of the, probably a little bit too green, but you know. This is a piece of fabric that I got from Susanna that I've wanted to do something with for so long. It's so beautiful. It's got like a sheen, and every time I pull it out, I'm like, no, don't. And it goes back in the cupboard. I think there's 2 of them around somewhere, so I've pulled it out. We're going. That is so JEMIMA. Like, the girl would have that. She's a classy dame. Imagine just that there, thread painted with some ribbons and. Oh. But then would it be on that? Okay, just bear with me, guys. I'm going to put that out there. I've got to make a decision on these pages. Found another piece of chenille. I think JEMIMA would have a chenille bedspread. I think that's definitely her. There's another bit of that shiny printed. Oh, just beautiful. And last but not least, just some random bits. I think that's too big of a print. Those colours are good. Maybe I can take scraps out. That's like a tea towel. Look, we'll leave it there. Bonnet colours and just some random bits. See, that's a good piece. These are from little kits that I've bought. See, perfect. Perfect. Maybe I do it on quilt. That'd be something different instead of calico. And a random flower. Okay, so I'm actually going to put this away. I think the scale is too big. It needs to be more petite for a little puddle duck. So that's going back into my little wicker basket that's sitting here. Feels good to thin it out a little, to be honest. It was overfloweth from months of grabbing and shoving it in. Now, fox. Foxy. I found this. Oh, look, it's just beautiful. I think I got this with Susanna. Like, this is an influence of Susanna, Bramble Patch. If Susanna's with me, this is what happens. Look at that cardinal. And here is a fox. Here is another fox and a bunny. Just bear with me as I get this fox into view for you. There's a fox. It's a nice fox. It's not a nasty looking fox. And I thought we'd have to have a page dedicated to stitching a fox. Was that the only one? Oh, seriously. Look at that. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. Scissors, quick. I didn't notice that one. I thought it would have to be quite a big, where's my good scissors? Seriously, goodness me. Bear with me, guys. We just, look at those mushrooms with the mice. That's Susanna's influence. She likes her little woodland critters. And she loves a good fox. I'm just going to take that out of there because you are really good size for my piece. There's one up the top of this panel that caught my eye as it come out of the cupboard. But he's really big. Where's my book? See, he's not bad. But I like how this fox is just seated and hanging out. And look at that. Size-wise, that is a cracker. We can build up around that. Bring him up. And then build in around it from there and thread paint that. So that's a definite. So this piece can go away, I believe, unless there's a small something on the perimeter. Look at them. Look at the little ones. Oh, look at that fox there. So if we need an itty bitty fox, like one in the background looking over her, I'm going to take him out. Let's just throw him in our little box of tricks, because you just never know. I might grab that bunny too, because not that I want to do Peter Rabbit as such, but there were rabbits around. And that one there is a nice little guy. Oh, look at the one in the pot. Oh, seriously. We're not doing Peter Rabbit, so why are you cutting that out? Just because you might need it. So let's put those 3 little bits in the pot as elements, and this can go away. Okay guys, I think you got the general gist of where I'm heading with the piece, how I'm going to construct the little book, and my, oh look at that. Oh, there's the 3 bunnies, seriously. We better take you too. Oh, what were they? Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail. That looks like those 3. And then there's this bunny in amongst the bulbs. Look at that. See how the bulbs, they look like they're, what's that flower that pops up when it rains? Colos? I've got white ones. Little bulbs. As soon as it rains, that could even be just a whole page. We do those flowers. Sling it in. That's enough. Do we have one more look? Love that cardinal. Would there be a cardinal in the forest? That'd be a nice page. How's it look with our colours? But no, just keep it to farm. No, but she goes into the forest, doesn't she? Oh, goodness me. So many ideas. All right, that can go away now. So, pages. What are we going to do, guys? Are we going to do the classic quilt? I probably don't even own enough quilt to do that, you know, to be honest. I just don't think the colours are right. I think I want to control the colours more. Like, look. Like, that's good. Keep it. That's just. Keep it. Yeah. Who knows? See, I'm obviously not ready to make a decision because I'm avoiding. See, that's why when you go and do your holes and you reinforce it with something, leaving the space ready to create something, you potentially pigeonholed you into a colour palette that might not be where you want to go that day. Yet that works. Look at that grey with the fence. All right. I think the Liberty fabrics need to stay around, but I'm not sure if a border of Liberty is where I want to go. I think I want it a little bit more free form. So I think it'll be the eyelet. It'll be the eyelet stitch. I'll collage my page, punch my holes. These are my templates now, and eyelet stitch around it. Then it's ready to go. I then do another one. It then gets eyelet punched and, you know, joined onto here, and then, yeah, start that sentence again. stitch a page, stitch a second page, join them together. So now it's a single page like these. Then I hole punch it, eyelet stitch it, and it's ready to slip in at the end. That's how we're going to do it. All right, decisions are made. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. I've thinned out my little box of goodies here so that, yeah, we can move forward. Oh, there was another box. Hang on. There's something else. Okay, nope, that's it. All right, I know I've got the panel too with the rest of those critters on, but they're all the Beatrix Potter characters, so we probably won't dip into those. Okay, have a great day. Not sure when the next video will be up. This is just to get it started, get it out of my head, prepare my techniques, and yeah, go and check out the video on how to do the slip knot spine. I think it's a cracker, and I love the fact that it lays flat. As long as it's not cinched too tight, it lays perfectly flat, which just makes for a beautiful book. I guess if your book was really big, not like mine is a bit tight, you could create it with a feature and then your stitchery sits back from the knot. So you could make your book and just add pieces to it. Anyway, another thought for another day. All right, guys, have a great day and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys. Here they come. It's time to go for a run. You ready to go for a run, you two? Off you go. That's it. Come on, let's go. That's a Pepper girl. So just going for a morning walk with Pepper and Bandit. It's about 6:30 in the morning, so the sun's up. Hey, Peppy. Hey, baby girl. Oh, yeah. Come on, let's go. Because I'm talking to you guys. They like keep coming back to me. Come on. All right, we're going to head out around the end of the lake here. Excuse me, Bandit. And then up the long side of the lake. So I'll pause the video, and when we get going, you can see the puppies enjoy their run. Hang on, where's Pepper? Okay, she's busy, so I've got a bit of bush beside me. Peppy, come on. She's sniffing something up there in the bush. Bandit's waiting patiently for everyone. Well, here she comes. Hey, Pepper. That's a girl. Was there a bunny there or something? Is that what caught your attention? All right. Off we go. So it's a beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful. Yesterday was really windy, but today it's just so still, just a gentle breeze. Like, I don't want to call it yet, but I can sort of feel like autumn is in the air. And for Queensland, that's just a 5-degree drop in temperature from sheer heat. But you can really notice it. It's absolutely beautiful. There were some lads down here on Sunset on their BMX bikes, having a great time. It was so funny watching them scoot up and down, and it was getting later and later, and I was thinking their mums will be getting dinner ready and be wondering where the hang are these boys. Oh, to be young again, playing on your BMX. Gosh, remember the days. Come on, Peppy. Here she comes. That's a girl. She's a real sniffer. Always lags behind. Catches up. Bandit, he has to lead the way. He's straight away off. Come, Peppy. Oh, the other day we were walking back along here and Pepper was lagging and she come trotting down. It was so happy, little bounce in a step, and it's like, oh, she's picked up a stick, which she never does. And as she got closer, I could make it out. It was a dried fish. Oh my goodness. It's like, no, Pepper, drop it. And she did. She immediately dropped it. But yeah, she come running towards me. What you doing, Pepper? What you doing, baby girl? She immediately come running towards me with this fish in her mouth. Ooh. There's tilapia in this creek, which is classed as a pest, and whenever fishermen find them, they beach them, as in throw them up on the beach, because the baby tilapia are carried in the mouth of the fish. So just, you know, disposing of it back into the creek or the water system really doesn't help us much, because they yeah, the little baby fishies come out of the mouth of the tilapia, and you really haven't solved the problem. So yeah, so here we are at the little estuary. This is the lake from the other end, so we've come from over there, and this is a saltwater estuary that feeds the area, and it sneaks in through there, and there's like a bigger estuary that runs right through to the beach, which is just behind those trees. So it's absolutely beautiful. Hey, Bandit. All right, you two, you can have a swim. Come on, have a swim. That's it. Oh, piece of plastic. Nope, nope, nope. No, Bandit. I'll take that. Piece of, that'd be from those boys and their BMX. Come on, have a swim. That's it. In you go. That's it. Oh, there's a fish. Come, Peppy. Can I have a swim? Is it too cold? Surely not. Pepper. Pepper, come on. Pepper, come on. Come on, in you go. In you go. That's it. That's it. In you go. Oh, not so keen. Pepper, you going in? Come on. Pepper. Those boys were around that lump. Oh, Bandit, don't jump up on me. Come on, let's go. In you go. That's it. You going in? That's a girl. In you go. In you go for a swim. Here they go. That's a girl, Bandit. Pepper. Right. Is it a bit cool? Alright. Well, so be it. Come on, you two. That's it. Let's go home. I haven't had breakfast yet, so maybe they need a hotter day for a swim. Finicky, fussy. I've been stitching all morning, and I'm starting to get a bit of a cramp in the lower back, and I thought, right, time to go for a walk. Come on, you two. Come on, Pepper. Don't. Yeah, cheeky girl. Alright guys, we'll continue on our way home. I hope you enjoyed your little walk with me. See you soon. Have a swim. Here we go. Have a swim. You going in? That's it. That's it. Oh, you found a big stick. We're all in. That's it. In you go. Whee! It's a little bit deep there, isn't it, Bandit? Bandit likes it real shallow, where it can sort of just gently roll in. Pepper will actually do a little dive. Don't wet me, you dirty dog. Come on, girl. Good girl. Have another swim. Hey, come on. Come on. That's it. Come on. Coming in, Pep? Oh, not interested? All right. Can't force you to swim. All right, guys. See you soon.